another episode of the Slappin Kpop podcast. I'm Sammy, and with me today is Kayla.
Hello.
And Maria.
Hiya, how you doing?
And we are here for Tier 2 of our K-pop scandal, Iceberg.
Whoop whoop.
Our fun series where we're going through the best and worst of K-pop scandals. And we now have reached the worst.
This is probably the worst and least fun tier that we're going to be covering.
Oh, yeah.
Overall.
When we were attempting to make all these tiers, we did attempt to do them in order of, like, most people have heard of to very obscure ones. But we also did try to balance them out with fun scandals, where they don't matter, and serious scandals, which is actually a scandal. This is entirely serious because we dedicated an entire tier 2, to Burning Sun. Because Burning Sun turned into a 10-hour script. 10-page script.
10-page script. It took me 3 days to write this script. It
took Kayla about 10 hours probably to write
wrote
it.
a full dissertation on Burning Sun.
And at this point, it's not even like a scandal. It's just illegal. It's just a string of illegal activity.
It's just a lot of that. Also, there's just like so many people involved, and the case is dragged out for forever as well.
I mean,
and
we
kept
got
dragging
updates.
in more and more people the longer it goes on.
I mean, let's be honest. While we were doing research for this, we got an update on a bunch of like court sentencing.
Yeah.
And like all of that shit, and it's 2022.
Yep,
exactly.
And this shit started in
technically 2018.
Technically 2018.
Yeah.
2018. All of this illegal activity went on for years before that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so much to deal with.
It's a lot. It's really a lot, the whole thing.
It just really exposes a corner of this whole entertainment underbelly, I guess.
I mean, let's be honest, every entertainment underbelly has this shit
But this one in
on.
particular,
but
definitely...
This one, like, this dragged
With the
so
amount
many
of, like,
people
high-profile people got dragged into this as well, I think is really what made it such a big deal. Because if the main person involved in this was, like, a nobody, like, I don't think anyone would care nearly as much as people cared about it.
True. And the thing with it was, it just kept evolving. It kept evolving into more people getting dragged into it. Then you also, and for the most part now being, like, 3 years removed, like, a lot of people are I've seen so many people misremember. We misremembered a bunch about Burning Sun while we were doing this. We're like, oh shit, that's how that worked.
Because there was, like, so many freaking layers to everything.
And then there was also so many false reports where, like, people got dragged into it, and you're like, no, they weren't a part of that. And then you're like, oh, there is an article. I did read an article where this person was dragged in, but that just wasn't true. Because when you're in the middle of something, you get all the false reporting, too.
And then there was also, like, a grand total, too, of, like, 30 plus something mega threads on the K-pop subreddit. Just continuous.
Constantly going.
Constantly going. It was insane.
Burning Sun was happening. I would, like, wake up and a new person would be revealed to be involved. It's like, we got someone else now.
There's always somebody new.
Constant stream of new people involved.
And, like, half of these people didn't do anything. And also a bunch of them did far worse than people remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So I think we're gonna go mostly in chronological order. But this also takes detours into just talking about specific people.
Yeah,
so we'll be mostly in chronological order.
So the thing, I tried to write the script as in chronological order as I could. The thing, though, is that we were talking about Burning Sun, which technically, when we talk about that, we're technically talking about two separate scandals, one of which is Burning Sun, which is the Burning Club nightclub owned by Sangkyo and all of the things and like that assault and drugging and rape of women that was happening over there and things that Sangkyo was doing. It also involves the Jung Joon Young Chatrooms. And that is more so of Jung Joon Young and all of his little chat rooms with his friends where a number of other celebrities and K-pop idols participated in filming and sharing illegally filmed videos. So when we say Burning Sun, we're talking about the two of those cases together because they're very interwoven to each other.
Well, this is also why this whole controversy is called, like, Burning Mokda. Because Mokda is to film or like to... I don't know if it's to film, but like something like that.
all of this involves like the exploitation of women in some way.
Mm-hmm.
That's partially why a lot of these are conflated together, even though the Jung Joon Young Chatrooms didn't necessarily happen at Burning Sun, the club. I think a bunch of them, there is a connection between them and Burning Sun, the club.
Because Jun Young participated in like the prostitution happening at Burning Sun, and Jung Joon Young's phone is what broke open the Burning Sun case to begin with.
Yes.
So he is
like
kind of around in the whole thing.
But
and
like
Sungri's tied to both situations too.
Yeah, because he was in the chat rooms with Jung Joon Young and everything. Yeah, Burning Sun is a lot more of like a white collar, like embezzlement, police corruption stuff involved in that, more so than like the Jung Joon Young chat rooms.
Think it is.
Yeah.
It's more white collar than you
really
think
white
it
collar,
is.
honestly.
So much white collars up in here.
Yep.
They're just flying.
To start it off, just to give a background of Sungri, the man of the hour.
Our main player.
Of one of the main players that's here.
A man who we have, like, at
arguably
this
the one
point,
who's at the center of the whole spider web.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
he's
Even
connected
though
to
not
both.
really.
He isn't even
what he
really at the
did.
center of it, but he's like...
It feels like he is, though. Like, when you think of
Jung
this whole
Joon
scandal.
Young, I feel like, is more
Jung
at
Joon
the
Young
center
is definitely
of this
more
in
at the
terms
center,
of...
but Sangri
But
is
Jung
like...
Joon Young is almost a nobody in comparison to Sungri.
easily.
Yeah.
Even though people knew who he was, it's not Sungri.
Mhm.
But yes, who is Sungri?
So Sungri is an ex-member of Big Bang. That's where he rose to popularity. And aside from being an idol, he was very well known to branching out into other industries like real estate and business. And this was to like varying degrees of success with each one. So some of his businesses included a ramen shop. He opened a Belgium waffle cafe, YGX. He had a lot of failures in investing in both technology and real estate. He had like a dance vocal academy, but he had to close that because there was a quote-unquote too friendly teacher-student relationship over there, which was maybe a big red flag to see things
flags
to come.
The other thing, I think, because for the most part, for any newer K-pop fans, Sungri is the one member of Big Bang that was in the prostitution scandal. That's really what he's known for now.
Yep.
But at the time, Sungri was... I would say one of the lesser problematic members of Big Bang in terms of when people would bring up Big Bang scandals. It kind of was him, and Taeyang was always the most clean cut.
Taeyang is good Christian.
He still is the most
He's
clean
a good
cut
Christian
of the
boy.
bunch.
Yeah, he still is.
Somehow,
and then Sungri was
honestly.
also known as the one, and Big Bang would make fun of him, but he was the one that was always focused on making money.
Yes. He was a
He was the
businessman.
He was a businessman. He was in this for the business.
Yeah.
And you hear it, and you just also... A lot of what we've learned since then puts a lot of weird, things you just hear about Sungri into perspective. Specifically, I remember there is a Knowing Brothers episode with iKON on it. And Sungri is also there. So it's iKON and Sungri, and it is said that iKON moved into Sungri's old apartment. Or his old dorm, or whatever. And they found a hard drive. And it had videos on the hard drive. And you know the videos. You can take that for what you will. And thinking about that in retrospect, because they had a great laugh about it at the time, but you don't know.
Right, it was a pretty obvious red flag. There's a red flag there.
It just puts things into perspective, because that hard drive might have been entirely safe, but also, what the fuck, Sungri? Why did you leave your porn at your dorm?
Yep.
Exactly. Especially since, it's pretty illegal in Korea in general to try to view porn on the internet, which I think is unfortunately a large part of the reason, not a complete correlation, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a large contributing factor why there's so many, crimes involving hidden cameras, especially targeting towards places where women would be.
It's also partially a factor there.
Yeah. I don't think it's the ultimate factor, but I think it's a contributing factor.
Yeah, so one of these business ventures of his was a club by the name of Burning Sun, hence the name of essentially what the scandal came to known as.
I will say, as the name of a club, it's a mediocre name of a club. As the name of a scandal, it's fantastic.
It's a great name for a scandal.
It's a great scandal. It's the only thing compared to is it's like Watergate. Watergate, name of hotel, terrible. Blank gate,
Watergate
fun
as a
scandal.
scandal. Great.
It
Fabulous.
influenced all the future gates to happen.
Great. All the gate scandals, love it.
Yes.
Burning Sun, like mediocre club name.
But as a scandal.
Scandal name.
Top tier
Iconic.
scandal
Great
name.
Iconic.
scandal name.
Top tier scandal name right there. I'm sorry.
It's a very
it
basic
just-
club name, though.
Somehow it encapsulates everything about this.
This club is gonna open up in 2018 and then shut down in 2019 when the case was in
You
being
don't realize
investigated.
how quickly that this is some dumb white collar shit, because usually
We
with
didn't-
white
it
collar shit
barely-
you are able to you figure out that white collar shit years down the line
club
when
barely was
everybody
open
got
a
their
year.
money and ran.
That's
This club is-
embarrassing.
That's
Studio
embarrassing.
53
That's
was
embarrassing
open
white collar
longer
crimes.
than Burning Sun.
I know.
Sorry, Studio 54. Studio 54 was open longer than
All
Burning
of this,
Sun.
this was
Embarrassing.
not a well-run
Embarrassing.
this was not a well-run criminal enterprise. I will say that.
Definitely not.
That's what happens when you're opened by an idol.
Mm-hmm.
Idols don't do crime.
Definitely don't do white collar
They don't
crime.
do crime
Not
well.
white collar crime.
They don't do
I mean,
crime
we'll learn
well.
they do different crime later.
Starting of the case. So I guess this technically all starts in January 2019. Who knew the next couple years of January would be very interesting. No, seriously.
January
Oh,
became
boy.
the new
One
hot
after-
month.
Literally. So I guess January 2019, one could say that's where it started it all. The first public awareness of the problems with the club happened that month when NBC News Desk reported on a alleged assault of a 29-year-old man, Kim Sangkyo, who was at the club. And he said that he was attempting to help a woman who was being sexually assaulted, but the club staff assaulted him when he had tried to intervene. That's messed up. And when the police arrived, he was arrested as the assailant and booked on 7 charges, including battery, defamation, and obstruction of business and others. Again, messed up and shady.
Pretty bad.
But noted that this
Not
event
good.
But noted this event occurred in 2018, but wasn't made public until NBC released this info in 2019 in January. And then it wasn't, and this happened when a man wrote a public petition on a website called Chonwa Day, I think.
I think so, yeah.
This is the Korean equivalent of the We the People website instituted by the Obama administration, where petitions that can reach a certain amount of signatures will prompt an official response from the government. And this petition ended up reaching the benchmark, which is 200,000 signatures, and it prompted an official response. And in this petition, he also claimed that a female clubgoers were drugged by staff members, and the club had a corrupt relationship with the police. Gee, who could tell from the fact that they claimed that one man an assailant?
I just want to point so many things out about this. One, this
Jeez.
mastermind with K-pop companies and rich ass people got brought down by the equivalent of a change.org petition and a dude that got beat up outside a club
Yep.
in an
Which
alley.
is so funny.
This was the benchmark to one of the biggest, an international scandal, because this was covered. Burning Sun was like
This was
massive.
caught on
It was covered
CCTV.
all over the world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, but there's a lot of people that get beat up in clubs.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that this brought down multiple K-pop groups, the world was watching Burning Sun burn to the ground.
The staff of this club punched a guy in the face, and then that just set off a
and then
chain
a
reaction.
change.org petition got started. Some people were pissed, and now everything's in shambles. It's amazing. Imagine if they didn't punch this dude, because in the end, the dude is
Imagine
not
if they showed some restraint.
And this poor dude
Yeah.
probably wasn't compensated at all for all this. The poor
Oh,
guy.
I would like to.
But
So we're gonna bring this man back up later. This man also
All
gets
right.
charged with sexual assault. The man who broke open the
Oh,
case.
not,
as
do
an
not feel
F1.
bad
So-
for this man.
So wait, hold
Maria.
on. So what you're saying is a piece of shit helped uncover
of shit.
a large event of
Another
pieces
piece
of
of
shit.
Even a
Exactly.
large.
And then the
Could you
guy ended up being found out as a
Could
piece
you
of
imagine
shit
if this
in the end.
dude thought for 2
The
seconds and was
cycle
like,
of shit. The
I've
cycle
also
of bullshit. The cycle of bullshit.
It's a
But
cycle.
also, this dude is also kind of dumb, because it's if you thought for 2 seconds about the fact of hey, I also am a criminal. Maybe I shouldn't bring police
Sammy,
attention to myself.
Sammy,
as well.
I think the answer to that question is the guy clearly did not see himself as a criminal.
He thought that he was gonna uncover a larger scale corruption, that they were gonna look it over because he was the one who brought it to the public in the first place.
Or two, I think this guy is also probably just kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm sorry, a change.org petition, essentially? Really? This is what we're doing here. This is how we're doing this. All right.
Who knew? Governmentchange.org would change everything. But yeah.
Yep. So now we move on to our initial allegations. So the initial complaint worked to try to uncover the possible crimes committed in the involved parties. The first report included CCTV footage from the club, which showed Kim's assault at the club, as well as a woman being dragged down into a hallway, supposedly drugged. A KBS report came out shortly after that a former employee talked about illegal drug use in VIP rooms. An additional NBC report in February added allegations of a VIP client who said the staff solicited women for him through text messages, specifically offering women for sex after they were drugged. The Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency took control at that point, and their involvement with the case was due to Seungri's involvement in the case and the media attention that was growing at this time. YG and Seungri then make a statement where, our favorite
man,
Yang Hyun-suk of YG released a statement about Seungri's involvement in the case, stating that he had been at the club that night and had left before the incident occurred. He also said that Seungri's resignation from his leadership position at the club was due to his upcoming military service. Seungri then released a delayed statement through his Instagram stating essentially the same thing and how he did not participate in the operation or management of the club, including an apology that he had not taken responsibility sooner. So essentially, deflect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like that's like what a lot of like attorneys and legal people tell anyone who may or may not be potentially guilty. Just
admit to nothing ever.
Yeah.
Never admit to nothing, especially in the media.
I mean, unless it's pretty obvious that it's you.
A lot of this just seems like, yeah, that's what happens at clubs.
Mm-hmm.
None of this surprises me.
No, this just seems like the things that probably happens at a club.
Things that happened at clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Since the beginning of clubs.
I'm like, yes. Since any club anywhere in the world, you go to any club on this planet Earth, might be happening.
Oh,
especially because this is like a ritzy club. Like
this is like he opened Burning Sun to be like a high-end elite club too. So when you have all these businessmen and like higher executive people who are showing up here, like of course like that's probably gonna happen.
It's gonna be ritzy.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, just overall a lot of the beginning of this was just, and this is where a lot of the things started, like at this point no one had any fucking idea what was going on, and for the most part people thought that this was just gonna be dropped.
Yeah, because it did seem at that point when YG of YG Entertainment and Sangri both released statements that Sangri isn't involved enough in like the actual running of the club. Like a lot of people thought that was just gonna be it. That was his involvement there was gonna be over.
And like he wasn't gonna get brought more into this, and also that for the most part this was just gonna be a story that at least on the international side we weren't gonna hear about, because it's like, oh, it's a random club in Korea. Why would
a random club that happens to be
they're only talking about it because there's an idol?
Yeah,
the famous K-poppers.
At that point it was
that's the only reason that those because those articles were gonna get written in Korean, but probably never translated. The only reason everything was getting translated is because it was Seungri.
Yep.
Well, no, Seungri's not gonna report about a random Korean club if Seungri isn't involved. I'm saying once Seungri, if this is where Seungri's involvement stopped, and like the police were like, yeah, he's the face. He's a little K-pop idol they put as the face of this company. He doesn't do anything. Then drop him, and then Korea can deal with if there is anything there, because let's be honest, with a bunch of this stuff, you got money, you get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, like, how much do you think that whole he's not that involved was a complete load of bullshit?
It was definitely a lie. I mean, it was as we'll clearly see, it's definitely a lie.
In this situation, I believe it was a lie. But if it was a different idol, I'd believe it, because how often is it that they just use them as a face and like they're doing some shit behind? Seungri is too invested in his money and his business for that.
Business
Seungri specifically. But, like, if you got an idol that was more, like, doing these things and being the face of a lot of products,
Well, it's like
I would believe
it's
that
almost
he would
like
be the face
because
of
a lot of
club.
idols get into real estate and like apartment buildings.
Yeah.
So many idols just own apartment buildings and
And that's how
profit
they
off of
end up
that,
making
yeah.
their money long term.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that they're a fucking landlord?
They don't
No.
do anything other than
They don't
own
do-
it
they
and,
have
like,
property
make a profit
managers.
off of it. Yeah, they don't do anything with it.
Between the
they're
property
gonna
manager
hire someone
and the
anyways to
accountant.
take care of that property, most likely.
Yeah, between the property manager and their accountant, which is money goes to property manager, accountant, and then profit goes to idol.
Yep.
They don't have to think about any of it.
All right, so after this is when we're gonna have like sort of the first real evidence that comes out of this case. And February 26th is when the first Cacao Talk messages were revealed. And these are going to become crucial to the case. But originally, so we didn't know the origin of these tapes at first. They came from an anonymous source, which sort of made their credibility a little bit questionable to begin with. These recordings are going to date back to 2015. And it's going to implicate Sangri and this whole organization of giving prostitutes to foreign investors who are visiting Seoul. And
Which, mind you, this is all before Burning Sun, the club itself, even opens.
Oh yeah, now
Burning
we're
Sun
like
will not
years
open till
before
2018.
Burning Sun even existed, and we're still involved
Yeah.
in like international prostitution here, essentially.
I mean, let's put it this way. Seungri was apparently good friends with Jolo, who was someone who's heavily involved in the 1MDB scandal from Malaysia, which, by the way, y'all should look into that. It's a crazy fucked up scandal that doesn't get talked about as much.
I'm pretty sure
Asia,
he's gonna show up later in this.
Jolo? Yeah, probably.
I also want to point out that at the time, this happens in 2015, Seungri is 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Which is insane.
He's
he's this
so
young. Getting into all
Mind you,
this.
the fact that this is only the beginning of when we know that he's involved.
Yeah, he's our age.
This isn't
doing
even
this.
the beginning.
This is just as far back as we have evidence of him doing anything.
Yeah,
like, he's
exactly.
probably, and this doesn't seem, at least from those messages, that doesn't seem like the first time he's done it.
Exactly.
Nor
Yikes.
that he is inexperienced doing it. So, like, he's 25 in 2015. How old was he when
and
it
he
started?
is soliciting prostitution. to foreign
Exactly.
investors,
He was in his early 20s probably doing this. That's
Maybe even his
Which
late,
is
like, who knows when it goes back to.
wild stuff there.
it's crazy.
Yep.
So the anonymous source who submitted these tapes said the reason he didn't hand them over to the police was because he had a suspicion of police corruption and that the tapes were going to get lost if he just handed them to police.
Honestly, fair.
Honestly, possibly fair.
After hearing certain
it.
things about Korean police, yeah.
Or just police generally dealing with important people.
Yeah, true.
Money.
Yep.
YG at this time, very, very influential. Especially in, like, your 2015. Oof.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like probably peak influential times for YG in 2015.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Somehow.
So the police were then gonna hold a press conference about they're gonna question the validity of the tapes because we don't know where they came from. The source of them has still been remaining anonymous. So then they're gonna call in a Sangri for questioning on February 27th. This questioning involved a drug test, also lasted overnight, so lasted a really long time. He denied essentially all of the cases, like charges against him. So he denied charges of prostitution mediation. He denied any knowledge of all of the Cacao Talk messages that had been brought up. He also denied drug use. He also, the media is gonna also reveal that there are apparently other nightclubs other than Burning Sun that were being used for lobbying, where Sangri also allegedly was involved in prostitution mediation there. So before he even opened Burning Sun, he was doing that around at other clubs. And in March 10th, he's gonna get booked for sex bribery charges, and then he's gonna resign from the entertainment industry forever.
Whoops.
So there goes Sangri.
So there's the Sangri.
Well,
of it
it's
all.
not over there.
And then
yes.
Sangri mainly stays quiet from this point on. He is brought into the conversation, but, like, I feel like we never get more statements out of him that often anymore.
I feel like the only time we got more statements out of it was when he was continually, like, they attempted to actually arrest him multiple times and then had to be brought in for questioning to the police, and then he would give a statement like leaving or going into the police station, and that's really all we would get from him anymore. He wasn't releasing any other additional statements, which honestly, like, I get that because he was under, like, investigation, so anything else he said could, like, implicate him in
and know
stuff.
that his own lawyers would tell him, do not say shit.
I'm a very big fan of... that's... Again, if you ever commit a crime... Again,
get a lawyer.
Not encouraging anyone to commit crimes.
Well, just
One,
in general,
get a lawyer. But two, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Say nothing.
Don't say things.
Say nothing. Say nothing, one, without your lawyer, and two, let him do most of the talking. Like, shut the fuck up and it'll mostly be better.
So speaking of lawyers, going back to that anonymous person who submitted the phone recordings, well, he was revealed to be an actual lawyer, Ban Jun-hyun, I think is how you say his name, and he did an interview about the tapes and where he received them from. And he claims he received them from another person, a whistleblower, whom he suspected was a phone repair technician. And this technician received the tapes when Jung Joon Young dropped off his phone for phone repairs. And he then sent an email. Well, that's what it says. It says Jung Joon Young.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Yeah.
This is his first appearance.
So
here.
keep note of that name.
Remember his.
It's gonna be very important for the next parts of this.
He's almost gonna be more important than Seungri going forward.
He is a little
Let's
bit,
be honest.
yeah.
So then I think it's this technician then sent an email. Oh no, sorry, no, the technician sent an email to Bang with thousands of chat archives, which took place from 2015 to 2016. And when the Burning Sun scandal started gaining traction in the media, the tapes were forwarded to the Anti-Corruption and Civil Rights Commission, and all chats and secretly filmed sex videos on Jung Joon Young's phone then went public. And the chats were then validated as reliable as they included a tamper-proof device or hash code verification showing that they had not been manipulated. Yeah, which I know is like, I think that's also a thing too with like a lot of digital forensic investigation stuff. Like there are certain ways you can tell whether certain data was manipulated or not. And like police usually go in to confirm this, that things weren't manipulated or hidden or changed by them, blah, 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 all that jazz. And then these conversations showed hard evidence that top celebrities committed a multitude of sex crimes and also maintained a good relationship with top-ranking police officers. Shocking.
We love multitude.
So
these chat rooms and videos obtained from the whistleblower phone repair technician not only did it give the police substantial evidence for the Burning Sun scandal, but also broke open a completely separate and maybe more honestly severe scandal, the Jung Joon Young chat rooms. So eventually we'll get back to Seungri, but don't worry. He's still
Don't worry about that. He'll be back eventually.
Well, put a pin in Seungri.
Put a pin in Seungri, because he's still involved in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing I want to point out is that so far, this case has been broken open by a dude getting beat up outside of a club in an alley, a Change.org petition, and some idiot deciding that, hey, my absolute phone with things that could get me in a lot of trouble, I'm just gonna take to this random repair technician.
This man with many illegally recorded sex videos on his phone, taking it into a phone repair technician and thinking that was gonna be okay.
Who's just gonna be like, yeah, no, he's just gonna fix my phone. He's not gonna like snoop. And I'm like, you're an idiot. You're just an idiot. They have to make sure that, really just.
It doesn't take a lot to break open massive cases, apparently.
Look, if you're a dumb celebrity. Apparently.
Look, we're not dealing with a peak of intelligence here.
No.
We are clearly not.
So, now I get to give you more information about the Jung Joon Young chat room.
Alright, break the damn open, Sammy.
Jung Joon Young as a person. We first heard of him in Superstar K4, where he came in 3rd place. He then debuted solo after that. He started in a band called Drug Restaurant, and then also continued solo music at the same time. He was a big presence in Korean variety shows due to his bizarre and strange personality, which is in retrospect, makes perfect sense.
It's bad luck for him.
Hindsight's 20/20, really. He was a main cast member on 2 Days, One Night season 3. Like, he was more famous for being on variety shows than he was for being
Very much so.
a musician, let's be honest. Before Burning Sun, he was also involved in a similar scandal in 2016 where one of his ex-girlfriends sued him for sexual assault. Charges were dropped due to it being a, quote, misunderstanding, but he did take a hiatus from the entertainment industry at that point.
I want to talk about this.
All around good guy.
I know probably more than a lot of people about Jung Joon Young, because I used to like him a lot.
You were a fan
owned
at the
two
time.
of his albums. And
I really liked Drug Restaurant too.
I like Drug
I
Restaurant.
liked
really
Restaurant was
did.
Drug
great.
Restaurant was good.
Oh.
I also
Restaurant
was
was good.
fully in on just being like a stan of Jung Joon Young before this happened.
Ugh.
Like, I loved him. I thought he was great. I
Ugh.
like religiously watched 2 Days One Night season 3. I loved that show. The cast of that show I loved. I thought he was so funny.
2 Days, One Night is a very good show, I
Mhm.
will say that.
And he was like really good on Variety because he was just like such a bizarre person, and I think that's mostly because he grew up a lot of his life outside of Korea, so he's not like your typical.
Yeah.
He doesn't have like a typical like I don't know Korean Variety personality. He would just say like weird shit all the time, and it would be funny. And I remember also watching 2 Days One Night when that first scandal initially came up, where he had to take a break from the entire entertainment industry.
Just leave for a little bit.
He essentially went to Paris for I think 2 or something months, and then they
Oh,
planned
that's lovely.
a really elaborate like welcome back episode for him. And in retrospect, it's really funny considering he's gonna cause the entire season of that show to essentially shut down as well.
And also, it almost be inairable anymore.
It's that
show
so they
is
came they
almost-
came back for season 4, and then Kim Sun-ho got canceled on season 4, so they have a lot of problems just generally.
They have a lot
with
of
celeb-
yeah,
there's
but I'm
people
saying
getting
that
canceled.
that season is almost like you can't recommend that.
I
season
can't
anymore.
watch
For
it
as good
anymore.
as it
That was
is,
my
you
favorite
can't-
variety show. I literally can't watch it anymore. I also threw out both of the albums that I owned for him. I was waiting to burn them, but then I just decided to throw them out because I didn't want them in my possession anymore.
Fair enough.
Just get rid of it.
Mhm.
I mean, at this point, what value do they have? You know.
I know there are.
You can't resell that
I've
shit.
seen his albums and Drug Restaurant albums getting sold for essentially like $1 on some websites because people just don't want them anymore,
Exactly.
and no one's gonna buy it.
It's too much of a
They're
hassle.
like of no
to-
use to anybody.
No one wants that. You gotta wash your hands of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, on March 11th, the entire case was handed over to the Supreme Prosecutor's Office for investigation due to the concern of possible police corruption affecting the investigation.
Party.
Always a good sign.
The police
And
corruption
then
of it all.
President... Yep. Yeah, still in March, President Moon was also ordered the investigation of the case to include 2 past scandals, one which involved a former Vice Justice Minister, Kim Ha-kyu, who was cleared of charges in 2013 but had new allegations about raping different women and recording them, and the second scandal, rookie actress Jung Joon in 2009, who left a list of men who she was forced to have sex with by her entertainment agency in her suicide note. The past investigation of both these cases was highly criticized by the public due to non-impartiality. Fair.
Yeah.
I forgot that the suicide was brought back into this.
Yeah, she was on what was it?
Boys Are Flowers.
Yeah, she was one of the bitchy chicks.
Yeah, she was one of those.
Damn.
That is also still another case that there was no resolution against.
Yeah, I don't think there was any resolution on
That's
either of them
still-
because I couldn't find anything about
They
any sort of
keep
future
re-
investigation on either of them.
I don't. Yeah, they did. That keeps coming up every once in a while because she was just. It's a weird case, and it's something that just never got investigated well.
Mm-hmm.
But it is just one of those absolutely terrible situations that just will never get any resolution. I've given up hope on that, and also just. It's odd that it was brought back into Burning Sun because it was so long before.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I don't want to question anyone's motives, but it doesn't seem like those the vice justice minister person that I almost understand more. It's roughly around the same time period, at least that a bunch of the Jung Joon Young tapes can go back that far. 2009 is very far back.
I'm thinking that probably both of those probably got dragged back into it just because they're of like a similar sort of like crime to everything that was already being investigated with both of these scandals, that they're like, maybe we can do more a better investigation and get some kind of resolution on it, but it didn't seem like they really got anything
but people people at the time might have also been thinking, well, maybe there's other rookie actresses that are involved in this and could be a part of this whole thing.
But the thing with that is specifically the Jang Jae-yeon situation just keeps getting rehashed, and I always feel so bad for her family.
Well, Shami says there were apparently some big key players that were involved in that like, it's probably to the point of conspiracy level, because like it's probably a big ass cover up tied to it for some key people.
I mean, that's the thing with it. It's been so long though, is that even if you like, the evidence, at least for her, is kind of gone at this point.
Yeah,
it's been like a good like almost 15 years.
Hence why in the true crime shows I've listened to, they are I think there's one in particular I listened to where it's like, it's a former cop, and he always said a big key factor in how a lot of these cases from like the 70s, 60s, maybe even early 80s are solved nowadays is because of detectives and good police work of keeping and preserving evidence, so then you could solve it later. And I feel like,
I mean, let's be honest.
This could be it could be part of that, but there's definitely some cover-up
just did a bad job in the beginning.
Yeah.
So on March 12th, Jung Joon Young returns to Korea from LA for questioning, where he was immediately booked as a suspect on charges of illegal hidden camera filming and sharing. Was quick to release a personal statement stating he admitted to all his crimes and resigned from the entertainment industry the following day. He admitted he didn't feel a sense of guilt while committing these crimes, but he did apologize to his victims.
Yeah, that's a wild statement to me.
Sorry, I got caught.
That said he didn't feel guilty at all, but said, I guess I'm sorry to those who I affected. Like, it's wild.
The man might be a sociopath.
I think he is. Like, that's a wild statement to release.
That's a sociopathic statement.
Jesus.
I will say, I will give it this. At least we didn't have an international. He just came back and was like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, and he was just like, I guess I got caught. Oh, well.
Well, probably because it's like there wasn't any wiggle room for him to actually legit try to defend.
I mean, they literally took all of these files directly off of his phone.
From his phone.
Yeah.
Again, but I've seen people with more evidence against them try.
Mm-hmm.
There is no limit to men's audacity, let's be honest.
Another thing that was, in retrospect, looks really bad that a lot of fans brought up about him was that there was a sort of a bit on a variety show. I forgot who else was there with him. I think it might have been like Zico or somebody. But they said that he had what they would call, quote unquote, the golden phone. And they didn't, it was a secondary phone that he owned. They didn't go into detail as to what was on it, but I think pretty clear now that this is that said phone that they were talking about.
Yep, the golden phone.
Yep.
The weird thing with that is that, like, because even before this, you can kind of have an idea of what was on the golden phone, and it's kind of not good that you're sharing that with other people. Like, it's
on
still
like
weird.
on like public television as well.
Literally on public television, just like
that. But even if those were sent to you, even if this was just some people sending those photos and they were fully consensual, because who's to say what was actually on that phone? Because is he stupid enough to show that? I don't know. So many questions. But even if those were just pictures, right? Mm-hmm. It is real sketch that you are showing them to other people if they were sent to you personally. To just other people, period. Also enough that it made it to, like, actual television.
Mm-hmm. So...
That is what you're known for enough.
Yep. We are now gonna get to the involvement of, a lot more K-pop idols who were involved in these chat rooms. So this is gonna start off on March 14th, where Jonghoon of FT Island and Junhyung of Highlight are gonna withdraw from their groups. And it's later suspiciously
Ooh.
it was because it was at the time they were speculated to be involved in those chat rooms, that nothing was confirmed, but it's later gonna be confirmed that the two of them were involved in the Jung Joon Young chat rooms. And so we're gonna start off with Jong Hoon of FT Island, because he is probably the most severe person who is involved in this,
guilty?
other than Jung Joon Young. Yeah. So he was an active participant in more than in one of the chat rooms that was immediate interest to all these media reports. In one conversation, he detailed a drunk driving accident that occurred in 2016, which he then was able to cover up due to his connection with the police. So there is some more police corruption in there for you.
So much police.
Yep. And then he was then questioned on March 16th on suspicion of filming and sharing illegal videos. He is also going to get investigated along with this for sexual assault. And I think illegal filming and sharing of videos, along with like the police corruption stuff too, because they're gonna unravel that at a later point in time too, that he was like directly involved in that.
Yes.
And so then we get Young Joon Young of Highlight. He's gonna admit to being in the chat rooms and viewing his illegal videos and having inappropriate conversations about them, but he is only gonna be questioned as a witness to the case. He's not directly going to be charged with anything like other than being in the chat room and like being a participant of like everything that's happening there.
He did not create.
He did not create. He also did not like actually like sexually assault anyone. He was just in one of the chat rooms and or just like and knew that there were illegal things probably happening there, but it just didn't say anything about it, which still not good.
No,
but he did
all of this
still bad. It's still a bad thing. But he's gonna have like pretty much little to no involvement in the case, other than the fact that he was there and he was questioned as a witness, and then his name is gonna kind of disappear from the rest of the scandal after that point. Pretty soon after, I think a day after that, Jong Hyun of CN Blue is gonna withdraw from the group. He's kind of in a similar position to Joon Hyung of Highlight, where he's gonna admit to viewing the illegal videos in the chat rooms and participating in conversations about them. He had but previously denied being a part of these chat rooms, because in one of them he supposedly asked Jung Joon Young for a woman to have sex with, but I don't think they ever confirmed that he actually did do that. I think it was just he asked a question, but I don't think they ever confirmed whether or not he followed up on that or not, so they didn't charge him for anything further.
There's no evidence of like
no evidence of anything else happening off of that, other than the fact that he asked, which is like, you know, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. We don't know. Who's to say? He's also
there's enough other crimes going on here that we don't gotta like go further into that one.
Mm-hmm. He's also gonna have little to no involvement in the rest of the case. I don't think even got questioned. I think he just like admitted involvement and then left his CN Blue, and then that was it for him.
Oh, wonderful.
So we're gonna now get to a kind of a weird offshoot. And this is gonna
a scandal within this scandal.
A weird scandal within the scandal, which is also gonna lead to them officially shutting down 2 Days One Night season 3. But because Jung Joon Young clearly had like group chats with the other cast members of the show, they also got Cha Tae-hyun and Kim Junho on gambling, which is like surprise.
How much illegal things was this one man just doing on this one phone?
Apparently a lot.
I feel like you need to like he had one phone to do all this shit.
This one so I'm gonna say this is not very severe at all, because it says they allegedly gambled with large amounts of money playing golf overseas, which I think essentially was they were playing golf together. They said, if you win this game, give me like $500. And that was the extent of the gambling. They like did not go to a casino and gamble. They literally had like a bet on a game of golf.
Wild poker night?
No.
This wasn't a wild poker night in Vegas?
No, this was they like were playing golf together and then like made a personal bet, and then they got them on gambling from that. So it's not a big deal, but gambling is illegal.
No matter if you are in the country or out of the country.
So gambling is also going to come up later. Again, like more so actual gambling, not like a friendly bet with a friend, but like actual gambling. But it is illegal regardless of whether or not you're in Korea or not.
It's wild to me that technically counts as illegal gambling.
It was.
I understand,
it was absolutely wild that was what
It
got
is.
him on gambling.
Because it's
yeah.
one of those things where it's like, I wonder what is the line.
Right. It was probably
I don't know.
like because they're celebrities, they probably bet a significant amount of money on it, which
It
is
might be the money
probably what got
amount.
it on gambling.
Yeah.
That's what I would
Fair.
assume.
It also just might have been because we're already doing all of this to Jung Joon Young. Might as well add a gambling charge on top of it.
Sure, why not? There, but after that, with already
Yeah.
Jung Joon Young essentially being arrested, and with the two of them getting booked on gambling, they essentially shut down 2 Days One Night season 3 abruptly and went on an indefinite hiatus. And it was like, I don't know if the show's ever going to be back again or not.
It did come back.
It did come back. Came back
it's
with a
unfortunate.
completely new cast in the end of 2019. I feel really
Which,
bad for
like,
the other people who
fair.
were on the cast who had no involvement but were just kind of kicked off the show because
I
their
mean, I also
coworkers
kind
were
of feel
involved in
bad
it.
for. I also kind of feel bad for Cha Tae-hyun and Kim
I know.
Joon-ho also.
That really sucks.
I
for
kind of
them.
want to lump them in there because also like
It's so
they
unfortunate.
didn't even really do any. They kind of just did some like friendly gambling, which in any context, I feel like it's the kind of gambling where it's like you're not actually like it's the kind of Korean gambling where it's like, yeah, technically it's illegal, but like, you know, I'm not gonna tell, you're not gonna tell, no one's ever gonna find out that this happened.
Yeah. It's like it was
And,
not
like, it's
harmful
fine.
gambling at all. It seemed
No
like
one got hurt.
Yeah. It was two celebrities who already had like significant amount of money just like playing a game of golf together, yeah. And then in March 21st, I think is when they officially were able to arrest Jung Joon Young.
Not just for questioning,
Just
but
like actual
full
official
prison.
arrested, yeah.
Get him out.
So yeah, well, it turns out you think that's it for all those
There's
celebrities. Well, guess what? Early April, they decided to be like, "Oh, well, well, guess what? More. How do you like that?
Though
How do you
these
like
celebrities
that?"
infinitely less
So,
interesting.
I guess notice. Yeah, mostly, but it was just kind. But nonetheless, I think at this point, even being someone
They
associated
went
with this
after
kind of,
every single person even remotely associated to Jung Joon Young because they
Jung
were
Joon Young
suspicious
ask-
at that point.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
did Jung Joon Young ever ask you to hang out and like grab dinner? Questioning.
Yep.
We got to figure out what were you doing at this dinner?
Mhm.
Where'd you go?
What were you doing? What did you discuss? And if it was me, I'd just be like,
Who the
I
fuck?
really
I'm
don't
like,
know.
Because at this point, they're questioning them about stuff that happened in 2015 and 16. So it's like multiple years ago, too.
Unless there's something like just stands
a
out
lot
to
of
a
these
person,
seem
they're not
very.
gonna probably remember much of a
We'll
conversation.
get to what
like
they
that.
were questioned about.
Mhm.
Yeah, but anyways, I guess an important note to these other idols that we'll talk about that they weren't involved in the main chat room where all these illegal videos and photos were shared for fun as a hobby, but they were in other chat rooms with I'm just gonna say JJY at some point in time, and were found in the investigations as the police were going through all of JJY's phone records. But none of these people were, or to what we know of as of this point, guilty of anything. And just important to note that anyone who had even the smallest amount of association with JJY during this time period was investigated, essentially. So, first off is the tale of the two Kims, Roy Kim and Eddie Kim, the singer, I guess, songwriter people. I've heard about them before. They were publicly known to be good friends with JJY, and all of them met during Superstar K4. And they both appeared in a chat room with Seungri and Jeonhoon, and they were both booked for suspicion of sharing an obscene photo in the chat room. And both claimed that they didn't take the photo themselves and found it online, and the police ended up
Reverse
Find this to
Google
be
image
correct.
search
Yep.
the image
To be
and
the
they
truth.
found it.
Yeah. Convenience. Luck is on their side there. And they were both cleared of all
I
suspicion
mean, I will
and charges
say
were
they
dropped.
were
But either
hanging
way,
out with some sketch
perception
people.
things.
Now,
Roy
looking
Kim
back,
and Jung
that's-
Joon Young
that's-
were like best friends, the two of them.
They were. I bet you he regrets that friendship.
I feel like he 100% regrets ever meeting him.
I feel like a lot of people probably associate with him for
He
great
was very popular. He had a lot of friends.
He did. He really
like,
did.
so many people publicly associated with this man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, like, for the most part, it's, like, obviously, like, it was this very specific small group of people doing this shady shit, but he was friends with so many people just innocently.
hmm
It was
It's
Yeah.
unfortunate
it's a lot.
for all those other people.
But I like that both of them had
Yeah, it
to,
is.
like, because it's like, one of them sent this photo, and I'm like, so both of you have to claim you didn't take it? Which one of you sent it?
I think it's either both of them sent a different one or a similar one, which it seems like they just found, like, like the way this
They
is worded,
Google image search?
seems like they found like a nude photo online somewhere and then like just shared it to a chat room,
Which now makes
which
me think
which
of
is
just
weird.
like, which is
Bro,
weird.
it's like,
Which is
oh,
weird.
this
Which
chick
is like,
hot? I love
cool
this
because
chick.
I
he's
think
shown
maybe
them,
they were
like, the
trying to look
golden
cool in
phone.
front of him.
Because, like, I mean, I've seen Roy
Be
Kim
like,
and
hey,
Eddie
look, I
Kim.
can find
Neither
inappropriate
of
pictures
them
of women
seem like the people
too.
that are gonna just, like, show an unsolicited... Like, because I feel like maybe they got shown the golden phone,
Yeah,
and they wanted to
they
be
were
cool,
trying to
but
look
also
cool,
they
but
didn't...
we're not willing to
but
do
also
illegal
they-
activities to be cool.
Yeah. But also, we're not willing to, like, if they ever have
Yeah,
received
probably.
those kind of images, we're also not willing to show images of people that they actually knew.
Yeah.
Like, if they
'Cause
actually
they're, like-
received a photo, they were like, I'm not just
They're
gonna
just
show
like
this of a
yeah,
regular
they're not
person
like
I know.
trash human beings.
not-
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not absolute garbage people.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of people with a rap sheet, Kanye and Super Junior somehow
Of course,
connected
Super
to
Junior
all
had to
this,
get brought into
right?
this.
I mean, considering Kanye had his
Two
own
of 'em.
DUI
Two of 'em.
issues twice in his career, he was actually confirmed that he was in a chat room with JJY, and which apparently was started when they were both cast as members of the show Hitmaker together. No illegal activity was found on his part, and, well, again, DUI issues
Yeah,
was
no, he's
kicked out
still
of Super
He's got a
Junior.
bunch of other
Junior.
He's already a hot
problems.
mess of
He's
a person.
still
No,
technically
he's not.
in
He
Super
kicked him
Junior.
out after
He's
the
out
second
now?
one. Yeah.
No, I thought
They
he was
officially
still
kicked
in
him
his
out, yeah.
recovery
No,
period.
it was he wasn't in
Super
recovery.
Junior-
Then he got the second DUI. Then they kicked him out officially.
Yeah, because, like, the first time he got the first
Yeah,
DUI,
they came
they
back
sent
and
his
they got a
ass straight
second
to
one.
the army.
Clearly didn't learn anything.
And clearly has issues with, unfortunately, if you're getting 2 DUIs in a row, I'm just gonna say it, you clearly have something, you don't have a good relationship with alcohol, I feel like, but, which is unfortunate, and hopefully he's actually getting help for that, but who knows. But anyways, speaking of more idol group people, Jinwoon of 2AM was also revealed to be in a chat room of JJY, and, I guess the police never questioned, oh, is it that, oh wait, it's, never questioned the guy because there was no suspicious activity from him. But yeah, I don't know why I thought it was
Because
like Jo
it's
Kwon
always
for a hot
Jo
second.
Kwon,
I'm
let's
just like,
be
no, it's
honest.
not Jo Kwon.
Jo Kwon did nothing wrong, but I always feel like
Like,
when
no,
I
Jo
hear
Kwon, keep
anything
being a part
about
of this.
2
I don't know why I totally thought it
my
was
It's
brain
only
immediately goes to
goes
Jo
to
Kwon.
Jo Kwon. It's-
That's unless like that's it. 2AM is a one-man band, and it's just Jo Kwon.
Again, and it's like they really didn't need to release the fact that Jinwoon of 2AM
questioned-
was in a chat room because like they never even questioned him. Like he didn't do anything other than be like slightly associated with this man. But like
The man probably went to lunch.
But I guess at this point, it's just kind of like just expose all the
Oh, yeah.
entertainment
Well, also,
elites
it's just
to,
like
you know,
whoever they
be
found,
as-
like it's a
be used
story.
as a-
You gotta
on
get
the
the clicks.
prior.
You gotta get the money.
mhm.
This was everybody was like
Yeah.
chomping at the bit for any kind of information
Oh yeah.
about any of it.
Yep.
Pretty much.
It was a time, I will say. So now we go to the charges, the official arrests, and the trials. So the investigation team were aware of the fact that multiple group rapes had occurred because the videos uncovered on the phone, but they were unable to identify any victims before they started to come forward themselves. Lawyer Bang, the whistleblower, said he had spoken to some of the victims, and some of them were unaware the events had ever happened to them since they were so drugged.
Now that's really sad.
That's fucked.
Like that's really fucked.
That's real fucked.
God, that's
That's
fucked
really
up.
fucked.
That's yeah. And that's unfortunate. It's just like, oh my, because like that's such a shitty way to find out too,
Because
is
all
that
these
you're a
video
victim
evidence
because
showed
there's
up,
video
yeah.
evidence of your face, and you
Yeah,
don't even
no,
fucking
that's
remember
awful.
that.
So on April 19th, the first victim complaint was filed against Jung Hoon and Jung Joon Young, a former staff of Burning Sun and a former staff of YG Entertainment and an anonymous businessman. What a group of
What
people
a group
to
of
be hanging
people
out.
there.
This complaint stated that she had passed out and was later assaulted in a hotel room on March 2016, and the events were also filmed. Investigation revealed that these events happened after a Jung Joon Young fan sign.
Oh, how lovely.
What a time. They also investigated a second similar assault case where the victim was traveling with Jung Joon Young and Jung Hoon. Oh boy.
Who's that relevant person of FT Island again?
Jung Hoon is the...
Uh,
I want to make a brief note
Jong-hoon.
that I think that FNC had a time during this.
That it really what a
They
time.
did.
But I will
God.
say that while CN Blue's main thing was like, I mean, just ignore,
Mm-hmm.
Hongi very clearly was like, fuck this man's, and I respect him for it.
It was great. Honky was not having
Honky-
any of it.
Very clearly said, this man is a disgrace, and we wash our hands of him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I think that was how that group survived, because dear God.
Oh boy. What a
Oh, boy.
time.
Yep. So Jong-hoon was arrested on May 9th for allegations of a group sexual assault. And then Jung Joon Young pled guilty to 11 cases of illicit filming and sharing earlier in March while he was still in police custody. And he continued to be investigated for gang rape and also was being investigated for separate charges directly related to Burning Sun, the club, which we haven't talked about for the past, 4 pages.
No,
by the way.
just to remind everyone that he's also involved in Burning Sun.
He's still involved in the white-collar crime.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get back to the white-collar crime.
Oh yeah.
So, Jung Joon Young's original charges were... his original conviction was 6 hours of prison.
6 years.
80
6
hours.
years.
6 years. Holy... What did I
6
say?
hours.
Fuck! Edit!
Only
My
6
brain has
hours.
lost
Could you
the ability to
imagine?
function. It's 8
Could you imagine if that was the case?
6 years of
Good
prison,
Lord.
80 hours of sexual assault treatment, 5 years restriction from working with children.
I'm sorry, that should
Then
be
he
a
appealed-
lifetime ban on working with children.
That's another thing. I'm like, I feel like you need to be on a registry. He then appealed the sentence and it was reduced to 5 years. He was denied probation, and then he appealed a second time, but the sentence was upheld, so he is now at 5 years of prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming the other shit.
Yep. Oh boy.
And so then, Jong-hoon's charge and conviction was 5 years of prison, 80 hours of sexual assault treatment, 5 years restriction on working with children. He also appealed. It was reduced to 2.5 years of prison. I'm gonna let that sink in. 2.5 years of prison.
He is currently out of prison as of right now.
He's
already out of
I mean,
prison.
it's been a while.
Yeah.
He's out of jail. He was
He's out of
denied
prison now.
probation.
Wow.
He appealed a second time, but the sentence was upheld. But at this point, it's over. Jung Joon Young's gonna get out of prison sooner than you think.
Yes.
It probably is either gonna be next year,
It's gonna be soon. Which
next
is
year or the year
unfortunate.
after.
Probably.
So now let's transition back to Burning Sun.
Uh,
We're back to the club.
Time to Burning Sun. So,
Meanwhile-
Jung Joon Young and Jong-hoon were already imprisoned at this point in time because of the trial that was held in 2020 for sexual assault. They were then indicted on separate charges for soliciting prostitution and bribery. So Jung Joon Young got charged with soliciting prostitution, was only fined 1 million won for it. And Jong-hoon got charged on bribing police to cover up his drunk driving incident. Don't know if they ever charged him officially on that. I couldn't find anything when I was researching, but that was also happening there.
I don't know if they can, because there might be something of them actually needing to prove he was drunk.
Yeah, there was a lot of the...
And they can only prove that he bribed, which in theory
So they could, I
find,
guess they could get him on bribery.
correlation and causation.
I definitely don't think they could get him on drunk driving, but I think they definitely could have got him on bribery, because that seemed to have at least
yeah.
evidence there for that, but...
Yeah.
I don't know if that ever got charged, but yeah, he's out of
Yeah.
prison already as of November 8th of last year. So,
That's
he's out in the world
garbage.
now.
That is garbage.
Yep.
That's a garbage conviction.
Yep. Pretty,
Yeah.
You only get...
pretty bad.
I mean, I've noticed there's a lot of countries in general where they chart, the sentences for, prison or jail
I mean,
time
let's
is,
be honest.
I'd
You
say
only
pretty
get
low
less jail
compared to the
time for a
States.
rape case if you're a college athlete in America.
Oh boy.
with a white judge.
Oh boy.
Fair enough.
I feel like
Am I wrong?
you're not wrong. Also, I feel like
Exactly.
the drug charges in South Korea are worse than the sexual assault charges, and something feels wrong about that.
Oh yeah, all of that is yes.
Agreed.
It's bad. There's also a lot of non-celebrities involved in this, especially on the Burning Sun side, because a lot of it is white collar. So there's a lot of like executive CEO type people who got charged for stuff. So we're gonna go a speed round through some of them real fast. So we're gonna start with Lee Sung-hyun, who was the Burning Sun co-CEO. He admitted to paying an officer to cover up an incident with an underage club goer. That's a big oof right there.
That is an oof.
Then we have Lee Moon-ho, who is another Burning Sun co-CEO. He got on drug-related charges, and his sentence was a year in prison with charges of using more than 10 different drugs. So we're not.
All right. Speed run.
Seems
Speed run, everybody.
Jeez.
Let's round robin this. Can we name 10
10
different
drugs?
drugs
Oh,
that
God.
he could be doing? Let's think about this.
Fentanyl, heroin,
Weed,
methamphetamine,
LSD,
marijuana,
LSD,
cocaine, crack, LSD, acid, Molly.
I think we need like 2 more.
Shrooms.
He did
Shrooms.
Did he just also do
Did
like
bath
very
salts?
like an Adderall?
Yeah.
Codeine.
Bath salts.
Codeine.
No, but
Adderall.
they're not getting
There we
bath
go.
salts in Korea.
That's like,
Something like that.
That was wild to
That's
me.
an
They got
insane-
him on
How
10
much you want
different
to?
drugs.
No. I just remembered it. I know what it is. He did like oxy and that. He did prescription drugs.
Oh, prescription drugs.
That's what I'm thinking it is. It's less
God.
fun.
That's less fun
But I'm
than
thinking he
like
did
LSD
prescription
and
drugs.
shrooms and acid.
That's why he's a businessman. He's not doing
Still.
drugs.
Fair, I guess.
He could be also doing cocaine.
Probably.
That's
He could be
also
doing
a businessman
cocaine, yeah.
drug.
But that was interesting to me specifically because they got him on drugs and they didn't get him on any of the other like white collar things. They got him purely on drug related charges. So then we have Yoon Suk, who was the Yuri Holdings CEO and was one of Sengri's business partner. There's also an entire thing going on with embezzlement with that company that is very confusing. We're probably not knowledgeable
going
enough
into
to explain
that.
that. So we're not going to get into that a lot. But that was a whole other thing that was happening in Burning Sun as well. So they got him on a mediation of prostitution, business embezzlement, sex trafficking, and he got 3 years probation with a 1 year, 8-month prison term if violated.
Question: wasn't he or someone else was like Yuri's brother allegedly?
Oh.
Like Yuri of like Girls' Generation? Wasn't there someone
heard
that was
about
the case
that, but
with?
I
'Cause
never
swear,
figured out
I
if
remember
that
hearing about
became
that.
like a true fact or that was a rumor. I don't remember because I do
Okay.
remember that being
Because I remember
a
hearing
thing
about that a
I heard
lot.
at the time.
So his wife is an actress, Park Han-byul, but that's what I got.
But that's not.
I don't know
yeah.
if there's anything else.
I don't think I don't think he is.
Yeah.
I think that was someone. Like they have probably either similar names or maybe even the same name,
right.
and it just didn't. It was a lot of things happened at the time. A lot of rumors.
Mm-hmm. So then they also got a former Gangnam police officer who just was called Officer Kang. They was investigated on allegations of collusion, and he got 1 year in prison. That his entire sentence got overturned in appeals because of lack of evidence. And then we have Yoon Yugun, senior SMPA police official. He was arrested on suspicions of bribery and mediating favors for Burning Sun. And he was also acquitted of charges due to lack of evidence. And then we have Kim Sangkyo, our initial man who reported this all on the Change.org petition. Our man's
that apparently our man's that got beaten out on the back alley behind a club that thought like, yeah, no, I'm gonna be the hero here.
Yep, so he got referred to the prosecution for sexually assaulting 3
God.
women and obstruction of business. So
I remember when this occurred that like this had turned around on this man and we're just like, you know what? It all makes sense.
Yep. So a lot of other people were arrested and charges were pressed against that were also related to Burning Sun, including employees of the club, visitors of the club. all of these other like sort of executive people who were involved in visiting the club. And all of these charges were for things like drug use and distribution, bribing and accepting bribes, misuse of power, sexual assault and rape, and a lot of other things. So these are not the only non-celebrities that got charged. Those are just some of the more notable ones, I guess.
There's a lot of people that got charged with this case.
A lot.
More than
So many.
most
so
of
much
which
was
no
going
one
on.
has ever heard of and no one ever cared about.
Yeah.
We're here for everyone was only here for the big celebrity of it all.
Mhm.
And many of them were not.
All right. Speaking of people, famous people we should still be talking about. Remember
How
Yang
do I
Jun-suk?
forget?
Yeah, let's go back and see what this bitch has been up to. So basically, they were investigating his involvement with socialization of prostitution for potential foreign investors. Oh, great. And he denied this charge. An investigation into one particular business meeting in 2014, which included at least 6 people and up to 10 prostitutes, YG himself, Jolo, which again is the same guy who's now a fugitive, tied to the 1MDB scandal, which is a whole money investment scandal in of itself that I definitely recommend people look into and learn about. But again, that guy's involved in a whole other ass big money scandal thing too, along with being tied to Burning Sun.
This is so funny. This is so funny.
God,
This
Bob. Bob, a Thai man with ties to Sunbury and
I like the
Burning
fact that I'm
Sun.
so
It was
used to
just
Thai
happening.
nicknames
Bob.
now that didn't phase me. I'm like, yes, Bob, the Thai, yes, and
Bob, who in 2018 someone filed a rape charge against him. Oh,
all
this
these
sounds
people
great.
sound amazing,
and was
right?
being questioned by police for various other something. Amazing crop of people. So,
I'm assuming
bitch
she was
named
probably
Madam
like
John,
a
which, if you
prostitution
can call Madam
mediator.
John.
She's probably the
Could be,
madam.
but she also
in this
sounds like she could be
situation.
part
She's
of
probably
a
got a
gang.
group of
Getting
girls.
the
Like
yeah.
it's,
It does. It really
sounds
does.
Yakuza-esque,
She
honestly.
does,
Sounds
but
very Yakuza-esque.
she's probably the madam in
They
this
did
I'm just
not.
putting
I
that
did
out
not
there.
find any clarification on who that was, other than there was that her name was brought up there, and that was that.
It's been so long. I'm going to make the executive decision.
And then we
she's the
have an
madam.
unnamed YG
Unnamed
singer.
YG singer. Which
who-
one is it?
I don't know if we know who the guy is.
no,
No,
I
it
don't
doesn't-
think
do we
anyone
know
never
who-
said
anyone?
who that
I
was.
just want to point out that
And then Juan Hanna.
I don't know.
we
we
who
also
that
don't
is
know
either.
who.
I don't know
There's
who
also
Juan
very
Hanna
little
is, but-
information on so many of these people.
There was a lot of no information on that meeting.
And then
that
Psy
they were
apparently-
being investigated for.
And then Psy apparently had to release a statement about all this because he supposedly introduced Jolo to YG, and he and YG had been invited to drink with him and the other man, and Psy was then questioned only as a witness for this event. So I guess now Psy has ties to this, in a way. So I guess all charges against YG because of all this were dropped because they couldn't prove any of them. But that's not all. He also got investigated for gambling in Las Vegas because, I mean, what the fuck else are you gonna do in Vegas,
Fair.
honestly? I mean, there's only a
Fair.
handful of options, but gambling's one of them. And was eventually was charged a fine for this, and this is really the only official charge he ever got during this whole situation. And
That was
I
the
don't know
only
if there's
thing they
anything
could
else
actually
he's
done
prove
since then,
that he did.
but-
So all of the other charges were dropped due to lack of evidence.
And then, of course, he was under investigation of tax evasion, and YG Entertainment had a corrupt relationship with local police, and then accused of covering up BI's drug scandal. And then, of course, all the other YG
I like
scandals
the
that
fact
happened
that
at the
this
time. too.
is going on for so long that we're back to the BI
We're up to BI's
scandal.
drug scandal.
We're up to here, and I'm like, we're back to the present.
It's all
still
connected
happening.
in the great circle of bullshit.
Burning Sun is forever.
The great circle of bullshit.
I still
Um,
think YG is guilty
I mean,
of
what
so
else?
much, but you know, it's like when they got Al Capone for tax evasion. You got to get him on something.
And so, as long if you stick it with some money crime, some white collar crime, I guess that's what
All right.
works.
So we're back to Sungri again. We're back to
Speaking of
Sungri
YG.
again. All right. So on April 1st, he was booked on allegations of embezzlement along with his business partner. The two of them opened the Monkey Museum Club in 2016. I'm so happy that this scandal did not happen with the Monkey Museum Club. Infinitely worse scandal name. So happy that this didn't happen with this club. Oh my god.
Well, when you say Monkey Museum, honestly, when you say Monkey Museum, it makes me think of this one art exhibit that I think I saw in London when I went in like
It's so much-
2018, and it was like one of the art exhibits had like some images of like monkeys as like figurines, and it was some like abstract art.
This
it
is
was
a
on
less.
sand
This
on the
is such
ground
a
and all
worse.
that jazz.
Such
But
a
that's what I
worse
think.
if
It's
this
such a
entire
worse
scandal was the
scandal.
Monkey Museum scandal.
The monkey
Like, that's
museum.
what I hear. That's what
it's
I
the
think of
monkey
when you say
museum
monkey museum.
scandal. No. So later there were allegations
God.
that funds from the club were used to pay attorney fees for a criminal case that involved an employee of the club. Sungri continues to deny prostitution charges, but his business partner admits to it. So, sketch.
Mm-hmm.
On May 2nd, also under investigation for embezzlement of funds from Burning Sun, so we're embezzlement for everything.
Yep.
On May 7th, the arrest warrant, they receive an arrest warrant for charges of embezzlement, arrangement of prostitution, and receiving services of prostitution. So all of the above. He's in all the prostitution scandal. He admitted to receiving services of prostitution, but continues to deny all the other charges. And then the arrest warrant was then denied.
They had
So
a hard
in
time
August-
getting an actual arrest warrant for
did
him.
have a hard
really
time
hard
getting
time.
him on anything.
They
They literally
anything.
tried everything.
Yep. On August
For them.
18th, now he's being investigated for illegal gambling in Vegas, along with YG, as well as charges for illegal foreign trade transactions. He admits to gambling, but not illegal foreign
Hopefully.
trade transactions. The man is admitting to the lowest crime in all of these.
Mhm.
So on
I also want to point out that
Just
he is
gambling.
clearly
Just
so
gambling.
inconsistent onto what he admits to and what he doesn't admit to. Like, he will
Oh,
pick
yeah.
one or two things, like, oh, I admit to this, but I'm going to deny
Well, yeah.
everything else. But the one or two things he's admitting to are different every time he makes a statement.
Oh, yeah.
So none of
Oh,
it's
of course.
consistent at all.
God.
So in January 2020, the second arrest warrant for Sungri for 7 charges. And those 7 charges include arranging prostitution for himself and other 29 times for foreign investors between September 2015 and January 2016. Embezzlement of about $17,000. Habitual gambling in Vegas. Illegal currency transactions. Violation of the food sanitization law at the Monkey Museum Club. Sharing of 3 illegally taken photos of women via chat rooms. And also, this warrant was denied. I hate this. I like that we had to get the white collar shit
God
of
damn.
the food sanitization law. Get him on everything.
They literally were trying every possible thing out there to try to get
The
him
warrant was
arrested.
denied.
So now we move
God.
on to another thing, because he had a military trial. At the
What a
end of the
rap
criminal
sheet. What a
investigation,
fucking
Sungri
rap
turned
sheet.
30 and was summoned to his mandatory military service. His trial was then transferred to the Seoul District from the Seoul District Court to military court on May 15th, 2020. At his first hearing, Sungri denied all charges except the gambling-related ones. He decided to then also deny the prostitution ones, apparently. On August 12th, 2021, he was sentenced to 3-year prison term and fined 1.15 billion won, which is almost $1 million USD, and to immediate detention. He was officially charged with 9 things. Those 9 things are arranging for commercial sex acts, embezzlement of about $500,000, overseas gambling of about $2 million, procuring prostitution, violation of Foreign Exchange Transactions Act, violation of Food Sanitization Act, violation of the Act on Special Cases Concerning Punishment of Sexual Crimes, violation of an Act on Aggravated Punishment of Specific Economic Crimes, and mobilizing a gang to threaten people. He filed an appeal in August 19th to the 25th of this. I want to know who he
What a fucking
mobilized
rap
the gang
sheet.
to threaten.
I
gang?
remember I
Did he,
read that
like,
on the
who-
Wikipedia
did he find
page, and
people
I
in
think that was
Thailand?
an
Like,
entire. It was for an entirely
pay it?
separate thing, but it was so complicated that I
But
don't think
also
I
it
could put
happened?
it. But I remember it being there, where it was like, someone was threatened by a gang or something.
I like
Which
the
is
idea
pretty
that
wild.
he just found a bunch of. It's not even a real gang. It's just like a bunch of dudes. And he's
Jeez.
like, "I'll pay you $50 to do this."
Mhm.
I
What
mean,
a
I like the
wide
idea that
range
apparently-
of
Probably.
charges as well that they got him on.
Yep. Oh, so apparently, after his appeal, we recently got this, which is that his sentence was reduced. So he is, so a new judge sentenced him to 1 year and 6 months in prison, which is reduced, and he still has to pay the 1.56 million won.
I think
and
that
I
was
believe
mostly
that is the
it. I
new-
think it was just
Yeah,
he got
that's the new thing.
the prison term reduced.
He got the prison term reduced from 3 years to 1.5 years.
He's gonna be out of prison like next
Not
year.
enough time.
Yep.
Not enough time.
Yep. And apparently
Yeah, no.
they reduced his charge because he seemed to have a quote-unquote change in stance, where in the original trial he denied most of his charges, but now has apparently decided to acknowledge them.
After
And
dragging this
and
out for 5 years,
quote-unquote,
he's finally
now
like, I've
he
given
is apparently
up.
now showing remorse, and I'm like, this is
Jeez.
complete garbage. Like, considering how inconsistent he has been throughout the entire trial as well, with admitting to certain charges and denying other ones, it's like he was absolutely not deciding just now to show remorse for it. Like, pretty awful.
So we're at the present. We're at the end.
Yep.
We're at page 10
Page 10 of Burning Sun.
of the dissertation.
So, a lot
Where are
of
we now?
the elements of the Burning Sun scandal got revealed before the Jung Joon Young Chatrooms even came to light. But Burning Sun took significantly longer to bring to a conclusion. There were so many more people involved in it, and also a lot of it was white collar, and there was a lot of just like investigation of embezzlement happening there.
So much
Here's
white
the other
collar.
thing. With Jung Joon
So
Young,
much
you
white
have
collar.
very concrete evidence on the phone. If you have the phone, which, again, they had everything on that phone. You have phone numbers, videos, text
Literally.
messages.
Like,
you have all of
the
the
proof
above.
was
You have photos.
there, and at the end of
There's
the end of the
proof.
day, there was only
There's
two.
solid
There was
proof.
only 2 people who got charged in the Jung Joon Young Chatrooms too.
Oh, yeah.
Even how, like, because it was so big and elaborate, but there, at the end of the day, it also broke open
2
Burning
people.
Sun, but only 2 people actually got charged for anything in that.
Oh, yeah. And at the end of that, it's like, it's harder to, like,
Exactly.
with white collar, there's so much, like, it's so much, like, white tape of, like, who knew? You can always deny. It's a big enough corporation that if you just muddy the water of, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Play stupid.
And also,
Play
like,
dumb.
Burning
Your
Sun
subordinate
had,
did
like,
it.
also international gambling, and they were getting people who were even just visiting the charge on, like, drug charges
Also-
and drug use and distribution, and so there was just, like,
You have to-
so many people that were involved in
You
that.
also have to think, I think we're dealing with different tax brackets.
Oh,
I think
100%.
with Jung Joon Young, you're dealing with, they're idols, but they're not, like...
They're not, like, CEOs of a
they're
company
they're not
level.
CEOs of
White
company.
collar,
Yeah.
rich, yeah. And at the end of the day, we're here like 3 years removed from Burning Sun now. Choi Jong-hoon's already out of prison. Jung Joon Young's gonna be out of prison in like 2 more years. Sungri's gonna now, with his reduced sentence, be out of prison in like a year or less. And he got charged for 9 things and essentially built this entire illegal empire of like drugs and prostitution and embezzlement.
The man was on his way to being like a mafia lord.
And like he's gonna be out of prison in like a year.
Honestly.
Oh, yeah. I feel like the overall, because this was such a big thing when it happened. However, I feel like it changed nothing.
And
Like,
nothing.
all of
Nothing
these
at
groups
all.
are like, think about
Big
it.
Bang's
Like
having a
2
comeback
days-
this in like a
Big
couple
Bang's
months.
having a comeback. CN Blue's still here. Highlight's still here.
FT Island's still
FT
here.
Island is still here, and is the only one that actually ever made a statement about their former member.
Mhm.
And honestly, a bunch of them are doing better. I
Mhm.
think Highlight might have released their best song after he left.
Yeah. He was
Best
also
song.
their music producer too, so like he left and like they had to take
It's
a
fine.
switch of music choice as well.
They're doing better now. It's fine. Overall, nothing changed.
Mhm.
The only thing that's dead. Even 2 days, 1 night came back.
Today's when I came back also
Briefly?
well, season 4 is continuing without the guy that they kicked out,
Oh, the other guy that they
the other
kicked out.
actor who had to leave for
Well,
a
yeah.
suspicious reason.
Other reasons.
That was Burning
I
Sun.
feel like
I mean, the only thing I could say about it is that I would say this definitely probably exposed to a lot of, especially international people about, like, yeah, there's some seedy shit for
I
sure
mean-
that goes on there. Like, it's one of those things that you hear about it, but now it's like one of the first times you, like, see it in front of your face. It's just like, yeah, fucked up shit happens.
And this could also just be an absolute wrong thing. I think that Burning Sun is also partially why you actually see idols get charged more harshly now.
Probably. They're probably
Like,
trying to...
they're all getting... Every time that
absolutely.
there's a DUI, they now get charged. They don't let them go. Because even, like, we talked about Kangin's 2 DUIs. He didn't get charged with either of them.
Yep.
Now, like, if you get a DUI, you're mostly charged. And now if you have drugs, you're charged.
Mhm.
Just look at the evolution of YG drug scandals.
Oh, yeah. Because we covered that in the last tier, but the
Actually.
charges for drugs are getting more severe the, like, longer time goes on.
Well, like, they're not charging, because you damn now well know that there's a lot of, like, probably really upper echelons of Korea that they're never going to charge. They're always going to go after, they're going to go after celebrities. They're going to go after the people more public.
Because, I do think that, like, when idols do get involved in this, they almost want to set, like, public example about it. Because those are the things that get news traction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a point. Yeah. They're gonna use them as, like, oh, we're definitely cleaning up everything kind of deal. When it's like, is it more so are they doing it now, making it more harsher because they're trying to save face? Like the police force
It's
is
also
trying to
that,
save face,
but also just
essentially,
the
on
fact
all
of,
this,
like,
or
they're just getting charged
Yeah.
with the amount of thing, and they're getting treated like normal people, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because they're not even going harder on them
Yeah.
than they would a normal person. They're still going lighter on them, for at least from my understanding of it. The idols are still getting lighter sentences than normal people,
Oh, yeah.
which is very unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a regular person would even get
Yeah.
a harsher sentence than an idol. So, on that depressing note,
So that was Burning Sun. Tier 3
I don't
of the Iceberg will have, I think, some more fun aspects to it.
I don't think we're going to get this dark
It's not
going to
get this dark ever
I never
again.
want to get this dark ever again.
at
Like,
least
we
for
got-
this tier
I almost-
list.
We got
At least
a
for this tier
Jessica
list.
just
I
as
don't
a
think so.
concept in tier 3, so...
Jessica and her stories around her leaving Girl Generation.
Mhm.
That's more fun.
I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, with this whole thing, it's just like it's a fucked up
Stay safe,
scenario. I
everybody.
mean, the way I see it, if there's anything, don't get involved with anything
That's
illegal.
just good life
Um,
advice.
don't
Don't
commit,
get involved in
commit
anything
crimes.
no,
illegal.
it might just be.
don't commit sex
You know,
crimes.
sex crime. Honestly, human trafficking and sex
Don't
crimes are
commit
unfortunately
sex
still a big
crimes,
issue in today's day and age.
Just stay safe out there, everybody.
I mean, honestly, yeah.
Be good. Be good people.
Be safe.
Let's just end it with be good people, please.
Yep.
You know, power and control, and I mean, well, when you focus too much on like power and control over people, I feel like it, for most scenarios, it never ends well. And I think it's best if I think it's always a good thing to try to avoid that in your life, like situations like that, where there's that like exploitation of people and just.
Yeah, and I
like,
don't think
trying to,
any of our audience are really out here committing
also, just
these
don't get involved with
sex-based
drugs.
crimes. Like, really, please.
I
Really,
hope
that would
not,
be
but, like-
unfortunate.
Like, let's just
So
let's
bad.
just
like, look out for people. Contact. Try if you see.
you
a
see
situation
something,
where
say
there's, like,
something.
I don't know.
Like,
say something. Just try to be more vigilant. Look after yourself. Look after friends.
anybody.
just,
Look after everyone.
Try to break this terrible cycle of people getting abused and whatnot.
I mean, let's be honest. There's only so much one person can do, but just
Yeah.
be good people and good night, everybody.